Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I get an arrow stuck in my ass because Cupid decided to pull his tricks.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Alright, Remington, can you feel it? Can you feel what's in the air right now?
I mean, because we are in Utah, that's just inversion.
Yeah.
That's just
it's
smog
horrible.
just smog being kept in by the surrounding mountains.
Yeah, and the fact that
letting it
people
escape.
leave their cars running constantly.
Yeah,
Truly, like, what is in the air right now is not love, but horrible, horrible pollution, and we are dying and suffering because of it. So, happy Valentine's Day.
Sometimes I check the weather, right?
Right.
And instead of sunny or cloudy, the only result that pops up, and this is true, is just unsafe air conditions.
Yeah, and you walk if you have to leave, and your girlfriend isn't around to give you a lift. So, really,
yeah, it's true.
Rem,
It's true. I do like the public transportation things. I'm gonna die.
Yeah, like, you're on the fast track to some cancer right now. Like, if some horrible, horrible disease starts to affect your entire system, we know what the cause will be.
Yeah, it's true. 100%. Anyway. Enough. I also imagine Valentine's. I guess maybe love is in the air.
I mean, in theory, it could be, but I'm just more upset about the state of our climate. You know?
Yeah, we're really just. you know what we love? The fucking planet we're on. Maybe we should start treating it well.
Yeah, this Valentine's Day, do something good for the planet, because most of you are single anyways.
This whole episode, we're not reviewing anime. It's just a PSA. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's just this is our Go Green Earth Day episode, even though Earth Day is, like, months away. When is Earth Day, anyways? I don't even...
God damn it, Shaun. All right, guess the month. Without looking it up, Shaun. Guess the month.
Guess the month.
At least to the month.
March?
April, you son of a bitch.
I was one off.
My God, what a fucking amateur.
Anyways... I figured that Remington, since it was a day of love and romance and apparently environmental awareness, that, we should do something a bit on the romantic side of things. Because as it turns out, there are a lot of romance anime, most of which are not very good.
That is a true fact.
So with that in mind, I have curated a couple of lovely romance anime, and I figured that rather than, because every healthy relationship is about compromise, right, Rem? You gotta compromise, like, on, like, mundane things to, so that you're not getting high-strung about the minor details,
Sure.
So I figured the best compromise I could make in choosing a romance anime to represent this year's Valentine's Day special would be to fling it onto you and have you choose for me.
What the listeners don't know is that you just straight up forgot that it was the Valentine's Day episode.
Well, look, it's not that I forgot. It was more that I thought that this was going to be our anniversary episode, but no, that's next week, and time is a flat circle, and I have lost all sense of what is relative. No, this is planned from the beginning. Speaking of which, I should really call my girlfriend and figure out if we're doing anything for Valentine's Day. That's probably the next thing on the list I should figure out.
The only thing you had on your calendar was just anniversary of Anime Out of Context, which once again, everybody, will be next week. That's all you had on your calendar for February, and now you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I swear.
Oh, no.
I swear I'm an okay boyfriend. I'm not going to say I'm an amazing boyfriend. I'm just going to say I'm an okay boyfriend. So with that in mind, Remington, I did quickly throw together a handful of some of our most requested romance anime. And I cherry-picked two from the list. And I want you to choose between the two.
Okay.
one of them is probably one of the highest rated romance anime we could ever cover.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and has even won awards actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it won the.
I mean, then again, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure also won awards, so like maybe.
Well, the manga did. The anime is a different story.
Okay.
Like that's those are two different animals, my guy. But yeah, no. One anime actually won the 2016 Sugoi Japan Awards for the anime division. So like that's an actual award that this anime has won, and loads of people.
Ah, yes, one I'm intimately familiar with.
Oh yeah. Quick question. Do you know what Sugoi means?
Rad as hell.
I mean, basically, like Sugoi is like amazing, superb, fantastic. So it's literally just the amazing award.
Hell yeah.
And you know what? That's pretty solid. Heavily requested as well. And the other one is what I would say very relatable to most of our audience that are both adults and otaku and weebs. To everybody.
All right, so the second one is sad, is what you're saying. To read between the lines, it's about a sad, lonely NEET who, like, maybe it's a love story between them and their waifu.
Oh, God. Okay, no, Rem, I actually meant this in a nice, wholesome way this time.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, so did I.
Yeah, no, what I meant was the second option is a romance specifically catered to nerds and otaku specifically.
All right, well, I mean,
so
it feels like you've given me a false choice. Because you're basically like, hey, one is one of the best things ever. The other one is for weebs. And it's like, I mean, like, there's not debate. Like, that, everyone knows which one of those options I'm gonna choose.
You're gonna choose the weeb one, right? You're curious to see.
Get the fuck out of here.
You want to see how these weebs do to romance.
Usually they don't.
Believe it or not, Rem, some of us actually are in relationships. You're talking to one right now.
Sure.
Sure. You've met her. She's not a figment of my imagination this time, I swear.
I have not seen her bank account to see any suspicious transactions. That's all I'm saying.
You think this is
yeah,
a
I'm obviously just choosing the good one.
Okay. Final answer?
I mean, yes, clearly.
All right. Well, with that in mind, let's get into it. So the one that you didn't choose, Rem, was simply a lovely little anime called Wotakoi. Wotakoi ni koi... No, excuse me. I started mixing the English and Japanese one, which is not the way to go about it. But just the simple English title for that one would have been Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. And it's literally just an anime about two adult otaku who decide to start dating and their relationships. It's pretty big.
Yeah, no, I've seen that enough.
As in me, is what you're saying?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Okay.
Obviously.
Cool. But they're adults this time, which is a nice twist, I would say.
Wait, is the implication that you are not an adult?
No, Rem. Rem, no. The implication is most of the romance anime we cover are about kids in like middle school to high school age.
Okay, gotcha. All right, understood. Cool.
And so instead, you have chosen the one of the highest rated romance anime, winner of a fantastic award. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Rem. I never said it was good. I said it was highly rated.
What the fuck is this bullshit?
So, Rem, you have decided to do a revisit episode this time, which is very interesting.
No!
No! Quite frankly, I'm amazed you chose this one because I figured it would have been too obvious of a honeypot, but here we are.
Son of a bitch!
Here we are. So today, Remington, we are going to try and finish. That's right. Finish. Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso. And I don't know if that name sounds familiar to you at all, But the English translation of this anime that we are going to finish is Your Lie in April.
Oh, fuck.
You fell for my honeypot, Rem.
No.
I laid it
I
so
called it out. I called it out as being, like, obvious. But it was, oh, shit.
It was one of the most obvious traps I could have given you, Rem. I never said it was good. And if I did, it was a slip of the fucking tongue. Because...
Oh, my God.
Because it's got to be said, Rem, we've gotten a lot of requests to finish it because ever since... Because I will say, we still occasionally get angry emails from people who listen to our original episode on this anime and saying, well, you have to finish it. You have to finish it. That's the whole point. If you don't finish it, then it's not going to make as much sense in hindsight. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I will leave it to Rem to decide his fate in the future. So, with that in mind, Rem, tell me, what do you remember from Your Lie in April?
All right, so I remember that one of, like, the single worst traits about it was that, I can't remember which one of them. I think it was the girl, because it's about music, right?
Right.
No, wait, I think it was the guy, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is just Kirito. He's just the single best ever, oh my god. Even as a 10-year-old, he was better than everybody else in the actual world. They had a bunch of bullshit being with both of the main characters being like, oh, they're obviously the best. Oh, but they're screwed out of a victory for no reason. Oh, man. Then I remember there was some bit about, towards the end, there was some bit with, like, his abusive mom or something.
Yep.
Who they tried to present as, like, oh, it's so, like, bittersweet, oh. But, like, it was actually just sort of fucked.
Oh, yeah.
And then, then she went to, like, the hospital, and I was like, come on, do something crazy. But she was fine.
The mom or the girl? You gotta be more specific.
The girl. Yeah, the girl.
Yeah, because the mom went to the hospital and fucking died.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit about them. I don't give a shit about any of them, to be fair. But yeah, so I remember this being so wildly frustrating.
Mm-hmm. And basically, you've more or less nailed it. Because it is about our main character. Technically, our two main characters, they say, but really, it's just the main boy, Kosei Arima, who was a young piano prodigy, as it were. And was very popular and famous in the piano scene. And then his mom died, and he refused to play piano ever again. Because he blames himself for his mother's death, blah, 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 blah. And then one day, he meets the heroine of the story, Kaori Miyazono, and she basically pesters him into getting back into music and him confronting his locked away emotions, because he does secretly still love music, even though if he can't force himself to believe it. And it's just the little story of the music and the romance and the competition and whatnot. And
it was Kirito meets Magic Pixie Dream Girl.
Yes, exactly. And and as you recall, yes, near the end of where we left off, because I think we made it about halfway through the series, because I distinctly remember thinking to myself, if I don't force him to watch a shit ton of this, when we do eventually come back to it, because people will request us to come back to it, we're gonna get a lot of shit. So I figured if I gave you the biggest dose possible at once, it'll make coming back to it a lot easier.
I just pulled up my notes for it. Apparently we watched 13 fucking episodes of it.
Yep. Yep, that sounds about right. And hey, look at it this way. Since we're finishing it, you only need to watch 9 more episodes.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
And yeah, and where we did leave off was, if I recall correctly, I think he confirmed, like he finally decided to let go of a good chunk of his trauma. And then we find out Kaori's in the hospital, but it seems like she's fine for the most part. Or is she? Hard to say. And one of the big mysteries of the story is what the lie in April was, near the beginning of the story.
And oh man, I can't remember exactly, because I had a prediction. I remember I had a prediction.
Right.
I think it was something that, like, maybe she has a terminal illness or something. I think that might have been my prediction.
Yeah, I think that is what you predicted, actually.
That sounds, I might be wrong, but I think that was my prediction. So let's see if I'm right, because it still feels very apt. Like, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, oh, she's just trying to live her last, and then it would fit perfectly with this genre to be like, oh, but now at the end she's going to die. How tragic and sad and unexpected. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
And essentially, one of our biggest criticisms that we've gotten in emails was like, oh, but Rem has to learn what the lie is, and that'll change everything for him.
All right. Let's see. You know what? As always, I will keep my mind open, right? Because people might think that I'm like super stuck in my ways. I'm a very open-minded fella. I am always willing to change my opinion. Now it's rare, but the reason why me changing my opinion, especially radically, is rare isn't because it's not possible. It's because especially in the context of this podcast, I usually shape my opinion very critically, right? Very I take a bunch of notes and I put it all together very deliberately. So it's not just like a happenstance women fancy opinion. It's like an established thought about opinion. But I'm willing. Who knows? Maybe once I see The Secret, I'll be like, oh man, turns out it's a good show and not trash.
Yep.
And I don't think it was like the worst show ever. I think it was like a solid like 4 out of 10 or something like that. Like, it had a lot of interesting stuff. I remember it being beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was stunning to look at. But it just felt emotionally exploitative and manipulative rather than like thoughtful and well done.
Which is where we got a lot of our angry emails.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, and just before we jump into it, just as a little reminder of the characters surrounding. So of course you got the main character Kosei and Kaori, but then you've got Kosei's childhood friends, Tsubaki, who's the childhood friend who has a crush on Kosei, for all the time, but won't admit it because that trope is always great and everybody loves to see it.
Yeah.
As well as
if I remember, like I feel like she just wasn't like I can't remember them doing anything meaningful with that character.
Yeah. There were some interactions, and I think most of their like clutch interactions happen in the latter half. And then, of course, his other best friend, Ryota Watari, who is dating Kaori currently, and he's kind of like the playboy best friend type character.
Yeah.
Those are what Mal has listed as the main characters. But really, you and I both know that the main characters are the two that are on the cover.
Yeah, like I if I remember correctly, and I could be confusing this with something else, but because it is a common opinion of mine, was that I wanted more from the ensemble cast. I wanted much less of Kosei.
Yes, that is accurate. With the exception of Kosei's rivals, which, if you recall, there were two rivals that compared all of their performances and based their entire performances on...
Yeah, like he shaped their entire fucking lives moving forward. And there was one character who he was like, I don't know, he's like some asshole or something. But then all of a sudden he like watches Kosei play again and he's like, actually, I am no longer an asshole. Oh my god. Oh, I am tilting myself with the faint memories of this show, dude. I am already tilted.
I mean, Rem, I gave you an out.
Oh, fuck. You knew what I would do. And I saw what was happening. I was like, he clearly just wants me to choose this one. But then I did it. I did it anyway.
Yeah, you did it anyway, which is amazing. Like, I would have been fine doing an episode on Wotakoi because I quite like the show. And it's pretty enjoyable for me, and it's nice to see adults in a relationship and not a lot of will they, won't they bullshit, because the show starts with them getting in the relationship and everything after that. Like, Wotakoi is quite enjoyable in that regards. It's not complex, and it's got a lot of anime references, but it would have been a nice little break for me. But no, I laid a delicious trap, and you stuck you went both hands into this trap thinking, oh boy, gonna get me a treat for this Valentine's Day. But no, Remington. The truth about Valentine's Day and any relationship is you have to know when your partner is playing you for a fool.
It's the number one thing to know.
Yeah, no, if Kaguya-sama has taught me anything, love is war. And hey, buddy, I love you, I really do. But you lost this battle big time, bud.
All right, let's get into it, you son of a bitch. Let's
All
go
right,
watch.
so without further ado, let's go and finish Your Lie in April.
I'm obviously just choosing the good one.
I never said it was good.
What the fuck is this bullshit?
So today, Remington, we are going to finish. That's right, finish Your Lie in April.
It changed my opinion. I'm talking about how it's one of my favorite shows. Wow, the beauty of its visuals are only matched by the beauty of its interpersonal emotion.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after consuming the remaining 9 episodes of Your Lie in April. And Remington, now that you've consumed the entire series at the heavy request of many people who listen to our show, has your opinion truly changed as much as people seem to think it would have?
Shaun, it is interesting to note, and I'm sure you're well aware,
Yeah.
but out of all of the revisits we've done, obviously just statistically, the vast majority of them have been about anime I don't like, because, as it turns out, I don't love a lot of anime.
Right.
And there's never been a revisit where I have evaluated the anime more favorably. Like, it's gone from good to still good. It's gone from good to not good, but it has never gone from not good to good, right?
Well, we're all for about new experiences here, so Rem, did that change this time?
God, no, Shaun. Certainly not. I just wanted to give the historical context in which this experience also remains. We have yet to have that white whale of me being like, oh, you know what? I was wrong. This show is much better than I thought. Yet to have that moment. Maybe one day. I guess the closest is like My Hero Waka.
Yeah.
But even then, like, it's just one of those things where, you know, we've yet to reach that white whale.
Oh man, here I thought that our Valentine's Day special would be a story of love and romance. Like this is supposed to be. Did this not cut the mustard in that particular regard there, Rem?
No, the mustard is very uncut. We have some uncircumcised mustard here. Oh, boy. I hated that phrase as it came out of my mouth.
No, it's definitely staying in the podcast, that's for certain. It explains why the Colonel was so mad in our last game of Cluedo.
So, as per usual with these revisits, I to review, I tend to just go back and listen to whatever I said about it in the first podcast we did about it, right?
Right.
And first of all, goddamn, I have good takes. But second of all,
Oh, and he's so modest too.
I know, that's one of my better features. But going back, I outlined a few things. Also, apparently, I learned you apparently spoiled something very mildly for me at the end that was censored out, and I have no idea what it was. It wasn't anything major, but apparently there was some very minor spoiler that you gave me.
If I recall correctly, I think it was you asking me how on the money you are with a particular.
Oh yeah. Which we'll get to.
And we censored my response primarily for the sake of people watching who still wanted to go and watch the show for themselves.
Yep. And hey, we're going to spoil everything here. So
yep.
Presumably you've listened to the first part of the podcast. If you're still interested in watching the show but still haven't, everything's going to be spoiled.
Everything, including the massive twist of the series that people really wanted us to get to.
Oh boy, do I have commentary! But in our first episode we did on Your Lie in April, I said there were 3 major flaws. First, I said the universal adoration of Kosei to the ridiculous degree.
Right.
Yeah, that still exists. That's very prominent. 2, the romance between Kosei and Kaori, how shit it is and to the detriment of any other interpersonal relationship. Yes, still very much so. Slightly lesser, but then slightly more. It ebbs and flows. And then 3, my third major flaw was anything having to do with any of the PTSD, which was horrendously handled. We got significantly less of that, so I guess, just by nature of it being less relevant, that's 1 out of 3 improvement, baby.
It's almost like I had a decent stopping point last time we covered this series.
yeah. But yeah, so let's jump in. I probably won't feel the need to go into as much depth as we did on the first episode of it, but I will cover major story beats, major themes. Episode 14, we get an episode that focuses a lot more on Tsubaki. Oh yeah, bringing back that pronunciation.
Oh, God.
Still not pronouncing it right. We
It's not that hard, Rem. I forgot that you had such a hard time pronouncing it until you just uttered it right in here and now. I was like, this will be a nice and easy episode because, it's something we've already covered. There's no way I could be annoyed by it. But nope, here we are.
So there's strong emphasis, which if you remember, in the first episode we did on Your Line April, I said Tsubaki should be the main character. Now, she does become worse because she becomes a more important character.
Oh.
So it's like the monkey's hand curls, right? Monkey's paw curls down another finger, and it's like, oh yes, she will become more important, but she will also become worse of a character. Still much better than Kosei and Kaori, the 2 main characters, right? Definitely still better than them and more interesting than them, but much worse to where she was. Which means that, like, by process of elimination, the new number 1 character, it has to be, Watari? Watari. By the fact that I struggle to remember his name, he's not super relevant at all.
But Rem, he's listed as one of the 4 main characters.
Yeah, he's just sort of pointless. Which is unfortunate because I don't know if you remember, but there was an episode that we covered in the first batch of 13 episodes. There's a beautiful moment where, like, Watari, he was, like, talking everybody up after, like, failure or whatever, and being a nice inspiration. And then he went and cried in the bathroom, right?
Right.
And it was one of my favorite moments in that batch of 13 episodes. And I was like, I wish we could see more. We still do not. That is the only moment of like proper depth that Watari is given. The rest of the time, they say, fuck Watari. And keep that in mind, because boy, will we revisit that theme later. Because they do him dirty in more ways than just ignoring him completely. What little we see of him is great stuff. But, so we'll get there. We'll get there. We get to see Kaori at the hospital because we left off and it was like, oh, why isn't she there? And Kosei very awkwardly performed at a violin gala, just the accompaniment.
Yeah.
Which, real stupid moment. And like, Kaori addresses this. We see Kaori and she's like, hey, it was real dumb to like, to perform just the accompaniment at a violin gala. But like the show acknowledging it doesn't make it better because like it's still, yeah, it's really dumb and it shouldn't have happened. You chose to write this. But that's fine. That's fine. Tsubaki, is conflicted about, does she like the jock who she's always had a crush on, who knows what his name is. It really doesn't matter. But he's baseball boy. So is she in love with baseball boy, or does she like Kosei? And her best friend is like, well, you're obviously in love with Kosei, but whatever. And like on her dates with baseball boy, she only talks about Kosei, and she eventually realizes like, oh yeah, this ain't great. And baseball boy is actually the one to break up with her. And he handles it generally tactfully, not perfectly, but what can you expect? We also get some flashbacks of Tsubaki and Kosei's, like, childhood growing up together, right? And there's one, like, major theme that Tsubaki, would polish mud balls, right, into something beautiful. And she would make 2 of them. and wait for Kosei to finish practicing music before giving them to him. And it's implied that there were like multiple occasions where she just wasn't able to give them to him, right? And then we see later, like, by the time she does get one to him, they end up breaking. And really, you know, the mud ball is just a metaphor for her relationship with Kosei, in that she's the only one putting any effort. She's the one polishing it into anything at all. But it's still real shit. It's still just dirt. And that's just been their history all along. And so Tsubuki's arc should be realizing, maybe me always doting on Kosei, right? Maybe me always doing everything for him and dedicating my life to Kosei isn't healthy, and I should actually, like, dedicate it to myself a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is not at all the direction they go. In fact, the direction they decide to go is, dote on Kosei. That's the right move.
do more of that. This
do
thing that's
more
making
of
you
this.
unhappy, do more of it.
Yeah, this thing that is actively harming your mental health, causing you a lot of stress and providing you little to nothing in return. Yes, engage further, actually. Fuck boundary setting, am I right, guys? Which ain't great. And like Kosei, he decides that he's going to do fancy music school, but that will mean him moving away, which Tsubuki's very sad about, right? And at one point they're sort of like reunited because of Tsubuki's friend lying, and they talk on the beach, but eventually Tsubuki ends up running and crying and just to escape the situation. Real rough and emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah.
Almost as rough and emotional as that pronunciation of her name.
Hey! Also, both in this episode and in many others, we continue with that shitty pervert trope I railed against the first time we covered it, where there's like 3 to 5 more occasions where Kosei does nothing and a girl is like, "You're such a pervert, Kosei!" Which is still terrible and lazy and dumb trope.
But
so.
Wait, Ren, there are only 9 episodes left.
Yeah, it happens way more than it should. It happens. I don't know why they keep leaning on this, because it's never funny or interesting. It's just lazy as fuck. Anyway, episode 15, we continue more of the same, right? I've already covered quite a bit of what we've already discussed. But then, Kosei gets pranked by a young girl before she faints. Or no, she falls out of a tree, and he
dies.
takes her home where she recognizes his aunt. I think it's his aunt, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And asks to be a student of hers. But also, it turns out she is shonen rival. I don't remember his name. He's just shonen rival. He's just...
Yes, that would be a Takeshi or Aiza.
Yeah. She is his sister and has, like, malicious plans towards Kosei. But also just wants to learn to be better. I don't know, man. It's real weird to introduce it this suddenly and in this way. We're episode 15 right now, and we're introducing an entirely new storyline.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, like, there are only 22 episodes in the series, so you got to make sure that you have enough characters to round out that whole runtime.
Oh, and God forbid giving Watari any runtime.
Nah, we don't give a shit about Watari. He's our 4th main character, therefore he shall remain their 4th in the background.
Fourth main character, which means that any other side character is actually more important than him. Anytime he's on screen, he's doing good stuff. He's the most sympathetic character. He's the only good friend. He's the only one capable of healthy relationships in this entire fucking show. And they're like, yeah, we can't have that. Clearly. So, let's see. Miscellaneous drama that doesn't matter. I don't understand where they're going with Nagi, who's the young girl. At this stage, at least. And we end the episode with Kaori. She's walking around at the hospital, but then she loses feeling in her legs and collapses. So, moving on to episode 16. We continue where we left off, mostly. So Nagi is still having malicious thoughts until a drawing from the aunt's daughter sort of turns her into a good person. It's a weird moment Like,
Yeah.
Nagi is being an asshole, but then she sees a drawing that the little I guess cousin, Kosei's cousin.
Yeah, they're not actually related, by the way. It's just a family friend who also happens to be good at piano.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, but they basically have that kind of relationship. So if you want to keep
Okay.
calling them related, I won't stop you.
Yeah. Well, the little girl, she shows Nagi a drawing, and it's of all of them, including, like, Kosei and Nagi. And Nagi's like, oh, I guess I won't be an asshole anymore? But, like, I don't know, man. Like, your character just started. You were just introduced. You were a total mischievous asshole. And then you see a drawing and you're like, actually, that's not me anymore. Oh, okay. Sure.
Hey, I mean,
Very sudden.
I mean, hey, that's how the story of the Buddha's enlightenment went. He just went to a tree one day and suddenly he was good, right?
Yeah, he was just like, you know what? Nah, man, not for me. So yeah, real weird moments. There's a scene with like Kosei and Kaori. Nothing too notable there. As Nagi is getting trained by Kosei, there's some tension. Then they chat about it. And then Kosei's like, actually, I want to perform with you for your school performance. And I'm not sure, it seems they go to a different school, right? Because presumably Nagi goes to like the school her brother is at, which isn't the same school. I'm pretty sure.
It's not.
Okay, cool. So, yeah. So Kosei's just like, yeah, I want to perform with you at this other school. Oh wait, no, that's in episode 17. Sorry, this whole plot.
I can't believe you're mixing up your plot lines. I only had you watch 9 episodes.
Oh yeah. But after Kosei and Nagi talk a little bit, Nagi starts crushing on Kosei because of course she does. And at first I was like, it was a little bit ambiguous, and I was like, is that what the direction it's going? Yeah. Not in like a super meaningful way, but of course. Of fucking course. You can't have Kirito without every girl in love with him. It's why do you have to be so lazy? God, imagine how good of a show this would be if it put in the effort. But no, it's like tvtropes.com. What are the most stereotypical anime things we can do? That's it, baby. Nothing more.
But Rem, it's
like,
very pretty.
It's very pretty. It is. It is. The show is probably better on mute. Which is sort of damning in a show about music and human relationships, but what can I say, man? So Kosei visits Kaori late one night, and she's like, hey, want to commit double suicide together? And that's the end of episode 16, but then the start of episode 17, she's like, haha, just kidding though.
It's not a very funny joke, Rem.
No, not really. Anyway, this episode, you get more stuff between Kosei and Kaori. All of their interactions basically boil down to like being awkward and then Kaori abusing him and being like, you should practice more. And that's basically it. Anyway, Kosei's like, hey, Nagi, I want to perform with you for your school performance. So Nagi's like, oh my god, that means I need to like really pick up my game. She starts working really hard, but she gets overwhelmed. So at one point, I will continue labeling her as the aunt.
Yep.
It's just easier that way. The aunt comforts Nagi, and shortly after comforting her, puts her in a sleeper hold and calls her flat-chested, which is a hell of a strategy to just choke out a child and call them a flat-chested bitch. Like, that is...
I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose.
How else are
Children
you
are
gonna
bothering
comfort
ya?
children?
Yeah, you gotta sexually insult them as well as like physically assault them. You know, you just gotta do the whole 9.
And some might think, Remington, surely that's not what happened. It's basically what happened, though. With very little exaggeration, it is in fact what happened. So they go to the little school festival, and they get ready to perform. Episode 18, they start performing. And you know, we haven't had a performance so far in this batch of episodes, so this is the first proper performance. And oh man, you know what I didn't miss that happens in this moment?
What?
As Kosei it gets on stage with her, in a school that's not even his, every person in the audience, holy shit, is that Kosei? Wow, it's Kosei. He's a prodigy kid, and now he's here performing for us? That's Kosei. Oh, fuck, I hate. Did not miss that trope.
And it's the second time that's happened in this series, if I remember correctly.
No, it's I think it's the third or fourth.
Yeah.
Listening through the first episode we did on it, every time I railed hard against it and compared it every time to, and then everyone clapped. Because once again, that's what it feels like. Guys, you can have an ounce of subtlety and depth in this show. It'll be okay. It will be all right. Like, all you needed was like a reaction shot from her shonen brother, right? And that would be fine. We'd be that's all we need. But no, everybody in the auditorium is freaking out. And then they start playing, right? And then Kosei turns into an asshole, but they frame it as if he's doing something nice. So
man,
it's like, hey,
that can't be true.
Sure. So it's like, hey, I know how like super important this is, especially because like you're the headlining act of the entire festival, right? And I'll perform with you as an act of goodwill, and we'll practice really hard so that you can get good. And then during performance, motherfucker goes off book. Motherfucker just starts like improving and doing shit they didn't practice. Wow. And it's like she's able to keep up, and they're like, wow, see, it's just making her better. He's just so good. But no, like, that's sort of fucked up, especially because, like, she had a mental breakdown before this, and now you're just saying, fuck her. This is my time to shine. Did you hear those murmurings in the audience? They weren't for this bitch, they were for me. Like, what the fuck?
Well, Rem, clearly what you missed is that the whole point of that was, Kosei was trying to motivate her to be better than him, you know? That was the point.
You do that during practice. That's what practice is for. You don't say, hey, how's your improv, huh? Is it good? Have we tested your improv at all? Because we're about to in front of all of your peers. It's like, no, that's not okay. And just because it happens to turn out well, don't fucking do this. All right? It's not okay in the slightest. Really messed up. Really, really messed up. So they still perform amazingly, right? They do just absolutely tremendous. And there's a theme that Kosei heard from Kaori, and now he's telling Tanagi that it's important to play for someone else, right? Which is bullshit. And it touches on one of the single most frustrating things about this show for me.
Oh?
And it is one of the core themes is relying on others, right? And how valuable others are, which is solid theme, right? Towards the end, we'll get to like a grand finale where Kosei's playing and he just thinks how he's been influenced by all the people in his life. Real solid stuff right there. But that's not precisely the message of the show, right? That's the message the show is trying to convey. But what it also conveys is that you can never do anything for yourself while also having characters always be doing things wildly selfishly, right? They're like, oh yeah, you need others, but also fuck other people. It's a very weird, and I have a very specific comparison I'm about to make, Shaun.
Right.
Because it's to a video game that also has these themes of you need each other, but also be a selfish asshole. And it's one we played together. Also got plenty of awards, absolutely breathtaking in its scope. It Takes Two.
Oh, you're bringing this into that. I was not expecting this. We had some things to say about It Takes Two.
Shaun and I played what for many was the game of the year of 2021. It Takes Two. And we had fun with it, but we both agreed that to ignore our critiques of the actual, like, gameplay and that stuff, which we had quite a few often. The actual idea and the concept of it was horrendously done. It's all about two parents that are getting divorced, and then their daughter wishes that they would get back together, so they end up shrinking and have to go on adventures, and initially their goal is to make their daughter cry, and they do a bunch of horrendous shit. They do a lot of really fucked up stuff that is just not acknowledged as fucked up stuff. And the message is, like, look, they need to realize how important they are to each other, right? But instead, it's, wow, these two are really selfish assholes.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, I feel like there are parallels here, where it's not like, wow, look at how everyone's just helping each other out. It's, wow, our main two characters, Kosei and Kaori, are not good people, are they? And weirdly, there's another theme from It Takes Two that also matches in Your Lie in April. Right?
Really?
And it is the theme of never move on from anything. Which Shaun and I, we talked about at length how, like, problematic this theme was, where it was, you are vilified, in It Takes Two, you're vilified for how dare you move on from a relationship or move on from even a vacuum cleaner you used all the time. How dare you move on from any memory? How dare you move on from literally anything, right? And Your Lie in April has the same message. You cannot and should not move on. Now, there's some times where this can be a nice message, right? Where it's like, hey, what you've learned here, right? The values you've received from it, the positive memories, keep those with you. But the show doesn't stop with that message, right? It doesn't stop with keep the valuable always with you. It just says keep everything with you. Keep all of the harm and the trauma with you. Keep these toxic relationships with you, and never move on from them. And that's not okay as a message. That's really fucked up as a message, actually. Like, it's okay to grow. It's okay to move on and move forward and move past. All of those things, they tend to be pretty positive. Yeah, we should try to keep all of the good things that we remember and that people have provided. We should maintain the lessons, especially those hard learned, right? But also, it's very important if something is actively harmful, or yes, even if it's just not working out, whether that be a relationship or just a device that you're using but you want an upgrade, it's okay to move on. So it's a weird comparison, but yeah, the same unintentional flaws of It Takes Two's story show up in Your Lie in April. And many people who haven't played It Takes Two, or even many who have, might disagree. But anybody who watched me and Shaun play on our Twitch channel, they will understand our perspective very clearly.
Yeah, and I will also say, on the subject of It Takes Two, how the hell was the book not an antagonist?
It was a fucked up book, my friend. It was a fucked up book.
Like, the book was gross and did a lot of nasty things, but like, hey, I'm your guardian angel at the end, and it's like, no, you're not, book.
That's not how that works.
You're pretty fucked up, all things considered.
God.
And which brings me to the addition of the book character in Your Lie in April. I just feel like it was a strange addition overall. Wouldn't you, Rem?
Yeah, just a Spanish book coming to life. It was a wild decision. But yeah, so back to Your Lie in April, and to that idea, it's important to play for someone else. That's an option. And often, if you can use that as a motivating force to drive your life forward, perfect, do it. But it's not required. It is okay to engage in art and create art for yourself, or for a cause that isn't someone else, but maybe something else, or an idea, or a principle. Like, there's so many other things out there that are also valuable. And I think this puts it in far too narrow a box, especially with how it's demonstrated. Nonetheless, Kosei and Nagi, their performance goes off tremendously. Then Shonen brother is mad and like, what the fuck? You're performing with my sister? That's real messed up. Are you trying to get with my sister? And then they have some really weird double entendre where Nagi tells her brother, she's like, no, I've been meeting up with Kosei, having private lessons, and he's taught me many valuable things. And it like the goal is to make it sound like they're fucking. Which yeah, no, that's not
No.
not working for me.
No.
Nope, that is not getting any chuckles out of me. Once again, lazy, but 2, also actively bad. So episode 19, we see that a doctor telling Kaori that surgery will be super dangerous. But she starts doing physical therapy and decides that she'll want to do the surgery because she wants to eventually perform with Kosei again. That's her goal. There's some more stuff with Tsubaki and Kosei, more of the same, where Kosei is just a continual asshole and Tsubaki is hyper dependent, and it's just not a good relationship in any way. And here's the thing, like with Your Lie in April, I like the emotions that it's conveying, right? And there are times where it's like, I can feel a semblance of that emotion, and I'm like, yes, I want this to be fostered. I want this, like, yeah, fuck me up a little bit emotionally, please. But it's the equivalent of if I were to turn on your favorite song, Shaun, right? But every like 8 to 15 seconds at a random interval, we will just have 4 seconds of scratching a chalkboard. And so, like, you start to think, okay, maybe I want to vibe with this, but you keep interrupting me with awful decisions. And so I can't quite make it there. Let's see, episode 20, we're just continuing on. Episode 20 gets a little bit weird, right? Where...
It wasn't weird before?
Well, it gets weird in a specific way, where Kosei wants to visit Kaori, but he doesn't want to do it when Watari is there.
Oh yeah, because they're dating.
Here's the thing, right? Yeah. Shaun, if I were like, oh man, Shaun, I really enjoy hanging out with your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Also, as established, apparently, like, following this world, Watari knows that Kosei has a crush on Kaori. So, you know that I have a crush on your girlfriend, and I enjoy spending time with your girlfriend. But then I tell you, yeah, but I only want to spend time with her alone. I don't want you to be there. It's like, you know, putting it that way, no.
Like, don't get me wrong,
Excuse
Graham.
me?
I'm like, my relationship is very, trusting and wonderful, and
yeah,
like, everything goes great so far. And like, if my girlfriend wants to hang out with other people, that's fine because she's her own person and has her own life. But if you say that shit to my face, Rem,
yeah, if that's how I present things to you, no, you know what? That is not okay.
If you had just kept quiet, I would have been like, yeah, no, whatever, go hang out. But no, hold on. Pump the brakes there, buddy.
Yeah, so it's just really weird, and I don't like it. Nonetheless, we have Kosei. He's practicing for, like, big competition stuff, right? And one point, hanging out with Tsubaki, she confesses her feelings for him and then kicks him and runs. Tsubaki becomes really violent now, which ain't great. So both of the main girls are violent assholes now. Tsubaki is at least the more interesting of the assholes, but she's still an asshole officially. Then there's also a major theme about trying to reach people through what they do best. And that they will, while usually performing in piano, right, they'll be like, I hope this reaches them, or I want this to reach them. And we saw it a couple times. We saw it with Shonen Bro, we've seen it with Kosei, we've seen it with Kaori, and we even see it with Tsubaki when she's doing baseball stuff, right? And once again, this is another, like, not great idea, because this show seems to believe that the best way to reach someone is through a grand, romantic, artistic, or sometimes even violent gesture, right? And while those can have their place, while a grand romantic gesture or whatever can have its place, that isn't the best way to reach people the vast majority of the time. Most times, it's the mundane, everyday, honest, often uncomfortable reaching out and vulnerability. It's that kind of communication. That's what reaches people. And that's also the kind of communication that's almost 100% overlooked in this show, which ain't great. So, at one point, Kosei and Watari go to visit Kaori. Watari's like, yeah, come with me. Stop being an awkward fuck. And Kosei's like, hey, Watari, I like Kaori. Which I very specifically remember a scene in the first batch of episodes we did in the last episode, where they already had this conversation, more or less.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But, all right, treat it as a moment. And, like, Watari's like, I know. And, like, my little headcanon is like, I know. Yeah, we discussed this already. But as they go to Kaori, a bunch of nurses are rushing towards her, and they shut the boys out. And there's an emergency going on. And then, as Kosei is walking outside, right, clearly shaken, then a cat who is served as a very blatant metaphor for Kaori, who multiple times it's like, Kaori, you are this cat is Kaori, gets ran over. And he tries to take it to a vet, but they can't fix it. And then he looks down his hands, and he has blood on his hands. All in on the melodrama, really. You're like, oh, maybe we analyze, maybe we use our symbolism for depth, and it's like, no depth, only melodrama. It's like, cool, all right.
Are you sure, Rem, that you're just not upset that they killed a cat on screen?
I mean, that is pretty fucked up. Cat didn't need to die. It's yet another example of this show. It has what like in the wrestling world, it would be like cheap heat, right? Where it's or a cheap pop, and that's the equivalent of you're visiting, and it can apply to any performing situation. But you're performing, right? And say you're performing, and you're like, oh yeah, it's real good to be here in St. Louis, right? And then the crowd goes crazy. Right. Because it's like, yeah, dopamine hit. Look, we're getting acknowledged. And then it's like, yeah, and then this specific niche reference to the city. And it's like, yeah, hell yeah, that's our city. And it's like, yeah, that'll activate the dopamine. Right. But it's not wildly valuable or worthwhile or original or interesting.
I think you just demolished the entire concert industry, Rem. No one's gonna go to a concert again after this. Holy shit.
Hopefully, well, if the whole show was just that, well, yeah, no, then you wouldn't. So ideally, you need something that is still captivating, right? So I'm okay with sometimes using, or just like cheap pop scares in horror, right? It's like, yeah, those can be used, but if they're the only thing you use, it's a little lazy, right?
I also like how you show our hand of us working in the haunted house industry by using pop as opposed to jump scare.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Jump scare is what I meant.
Yeah, that's what all the kids call it these days, you know?
So, yeah, the jump scares. And Your Lie in April is the emotional equivalent of a series of jump scares put together. There's not much suspense building, right? There's not much that it's like, oh shit, no, that fucked me up, and was so well thought out. It's just like, oh man, yeah, no, that pangs the heartstrings, I guess. Yeah, I guess, boom. All right, yeah, I guess that was an emotional impact right there, sure. But I want the depth there. It's like, I need something more. Otherwise, I'm gonna be, like, I could maybe I'll vaguely enjoy my experience with a jump scare fest of a horror film, but at the end, I'm not gonna be like, wow, how well done.
So you're saying if somebody's gonna stab you in the heart, you want them to go all the way to the hilt?
Yes, like I need something more. And Your Lie in April, and I'll continue to use this word because it is so true. It is a pretty lazy show. It's writing, it's tropes. It is super safe in all of its decision making, and it doesn't do much, even in a like super thoughtful way. It's always like the easiest answer is the answer they do, and it's just not rewarding or gratifying or nearly as satisfying as it could be, with the exception of the art. The art is not lazy. The art is where all the effort of the entire show came from.
Yep.
The show exists as a conduit to justify the quality art. But Kaori ends up in the ICU, right? And things are rough. Kosei is pretty fucked up about it all. He can't practice. Watari gives Kosei a letter from Kaori, and she wants him to visit, and so he does. And at one point, like, while Kosei's being sad, he says, music always takes people away from me, which isn't even sensible to the show, because music has not in any way taken any of the people away from him.
No, it's usually illness and death that seems to take people away from
Yeah,
him.
it's like, yeah, those are the things. If anything, music was the thing that brought you closer, except for like maybe Tsubaki, but he is not really thinking about Tsubaki in this moment.
No.
So yeah, it's just like an emotional line that when you actually think about it is meaningless. Anyway, Kaori and Kosei meet, they hang out on the snowy roof, and at one point, let's see how to communicate. I'm gonna describe it as magic air violin. She gets up, starts playing air violin, and he looks over, and a beam of light beams down upon her, and it's like, oh my god, she's standing and playing, and it's just beautiful and magical. He's like, see, miracles can happen. And then she collapses, and they hold each other, and she says she's scared. She's so scared. She's scared to be alone. And then so we have that moment, right?
Right.
And then we immediately cut to her having surgery and the end of the concert, the end of the competition, which, oh boy, all right.
Kind of a jump.
Sure. Would have liked to see, like, Emmy, who is the sort of goth one who we just have hardly seen any of now. She's played her role. Now she's just around. And Shonen Bro, they finished performing. They're done. Now it is just time for Kosei. Is he going to be able to do it? A nice moment of Shonen Bro and Emmy. They comfort Kosei, which is nice. Like, even though there's rivals, they care. And it's like, yeah, no, like, these moments, they're the good ones, right? Your Lie in April, it really sucks with the big emotional moments, but it's actually pretty solid with the quiet emotional moments, the subtle emotional moments that are wildly rare, the more grounded ones, right? Your Lie in April is a melodrama that sucks at melodrama, but is pretty good at the quiet moments. So why the fuck doesn't it have more?
Well, Rem, I can tell you why. Because, Rem, it's a show about music.
It's a show about music. and to sort of like use a musical analogy, right?
Right.
The moments where they're humming the music is far better. Just humming the music to one another is far better and more interesting than the moments that they are playing dramatically to a filled crowd. And I mean that both in a literal and figurative sense. So they comfort Kosei. Meanwhile, as Kosei is about to be up, you know it, there's an audience, so everyone's like, oh my gosh, Kosei's gonna be playing soon. I can't wait for Kosei. The whole reason I'm even here to listen is because of Kosei. Oh my god, he's so talented, that Kosei. Every fucking why? Like, Your Lie in April's just fucking with me at this point. It's like, hey, you know this really stupid thing we did? And it's like, and I'm like, yeah. And it's like, we're gonna do that anytime he goes on stage. And I'm like, maybe a little bit more subtler though, since we've seen it before. It's like, no, no, sorry, just as bad every time,
if not worse.
Yep. So he plays, and there is that message of like, all right, well, everybody like contributed to me being here right now, right? Which is a solid message. Once again, recognizing, wow, I'm so grateful for all the people who helped me get here right now. But there's two mistakes that this point makes, and it's like rough because this is like the emotional moment of the show.
Right.
One, his conclusion is, so I can't let them down, which is not the message. The message should be gratitude, right? Wow, regardless of how this goes, I'm going to give it my all. That's what counts. And I'm so grateful they gave me the opportunity to do this. That's the point. That should be the point. But right. I can't let them down. No, that's not the point. The point isn't, wow, so if I fuck up, everyone will be disappointed and hate me. What? No. How did you get that as the message? So that's the first really big misstep. But then it's like, wow, I'm grateful for everybody who got me here. But really, the only one responsible is Kaori. So it's like, fuck. I don't know, man. The show is just so fucking dumb. I will give props. The show, half of the final episode is this song, right? And they make a huge spectacle of it. And I admire the fuck out of that. Hell yeah. Go big. Have half an episode just be one song. I'm okay with that. I vibe with that. And And meanwhile, surgery is going on, and as it turns out, surgery didn't turn out well. And guys, you wouldn't believe, Kaori dies. I know! Who could have expected from episode like 3 or 4 that this would be how it ends? Who would have known? Who could have seen every emotional beat to her being like, hey, we're gonna perform again. I'm gonna make it happen. And then it wouldn't happen. Oh, how sad. Who could have predicted as much? Oh, what a shot. So yeah, it's pretty predictable. And then meanwhile, the only character we really see grieve is Kosei.
Yeah.
Everyone else, including Watari, is okay with it, apparently. And then, Kosei, he gets one posthumous letter from Kaori, right?
Oh, here it comes.
That reveals twist backstory and also what the lie in April was.
Yep.
And let me say, Shaun.
Yep.
This letter,
Yep.
it turns a show that I'm not vibing with into a terrible show.
Oh, I fucking knew it. Oh, God.
This makes the show so much worse. First, let's discuss the sort of like mildly twist background, right?
Right.
Before discussing what the lie is. So the twist is that Kaori, at the age of 5, went to a concert that Kosei played at and immediately fell in love because absolutely every single person who ever is interested in music, it happened because of Kosei. If you are a Japanese musician, it's because you watched Kosei when he exited the womb. He played Beautiful Moonlight Sonata better than any other person ever had, and that is how music was born in Japan. Alright, so already, what the, god damn it.
Rem, can I just say that when you asked me to, like, confirm or deny your prediction, and Dylan censored it, as soon as I, spoiler alert, guys, I denied his prediction, because I believe his prediction was along the lines of the lie was something to do with Kaori's health, or something along those lines.
Yeah, which, like, no, and then later I started to think maybe the lie is just like, oh, we'll play again or something, and I was like, oh, okay. No, the lie, as you're about to hear, is a lot, much worse.
So as soon as I, disproved his initial theory in the episode, it took every fiber of my fucking being not to tell you how it ends, because I knew he'd have to come back to it one day. And this letter is the moment I've been waiting for, Rem, because every single email we've gotten that has said, "Hey, but you didn't get to the end of this series," so which has the most pivotal part in the final bit, and I'm like, you're right about that.
Yeah, it's like, the people who thought this was gonna make me change my mind, it's like, oh, only for the worse, honey. Because even Kaori was a pretty bad character, right? She's super self-centered, actively abusive, without any depth. But this makes her even worse than she was, because now any characterization she had, it's just the exact same as literally everybody else of, oh yeah, I've actually always loved Kosei, and the only reason I care about any music is because Kosei, he birthed music, he's so fucking good. And she's always crushed on him from afar, right? And when she got the diagnosis, she realized she needed to start taking action. And so the lie here, and the lie, so already we've decided we've taken a bad character to a worse character. All right, well now let's take a worse character and make her fucking atrocious, right? Because the lie is that she ever liked Watari. What the fuck? Like, you can't even have that? And so this man, right, poor Watari, his girlfriend dies, and then his best friend gets a letter that was like, I never actually liked him. I was just with him to get close to you. He probably doesn't even care. Fuck him. What the hell? What? Like, once again, I've already established, and I had this opinion long before this episode, Watari is the only good character, right? He is the only good person, good friend. He is supportive, he is secure, he has his own struggles, but he uplifts his friends in a way that they just don't. And now for the twist to be like, fuck Watari. What the fuck? How wildly unnecessary and actively bad. Like, at least if they would have done the lie being like, oh, you, like, I know I promised that we would perform again, but I guess that was a lie, or something like that, right? Like, predictable, but that's emotionally resonant, at least, right? Mm-hmm. But no, it's like, yeah, no, a genuinely fucked up and manipulative and unnecessary lie. Because, like, she tries to explain it's the only way to get close to Kosei. No?
No.
Not at all, actually. And she's like, you three were just too close. Well, clearly you didn't have a problem getting close to Watari. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I cannot emphasize how bad that letter is.
But you're doing a damn good job of it so far.
Holy shit. It really makes the show that was probably like a 4 out of 10, right? So it's in the thumbs down territory, but it has enough redeeming qualities to only be a subtle thumbs down. No, like 2.5 to 3 out of 10 now. Like, actively bad. This show is awful. So we finish up, and one of the last things we learn, and it's a weird thing to learn, just is further establishing that Nagi, the little sister, has a crush on Kosei. Don't know why that needed to be established. And then at the very end, right, Tsubaki goes to comfort Kosei, right?
Right.
Physically abuses him, first of all, because that's all this show knows. And then at the end is like, I'm never leaving your side, ever. Which is the wrong arc for her to have. What? So, genuinely, the ending episode, half of it is this crazy concert. They go all out on the spectacle. Cool. The other half is all of the girls in the show being like, yeah, Kosei's the only one that matters. Why?
Fuck this dead girl. Who cares about her? Kosei's fine.
This show makes me so mad because it could have been a really good show. Oh man, in an alternate world, I'm here singing its praises, talking about how it's an 8, 9, maybe even like 9.5 out of 10. In an alternate world, I'm talking about how it's one of my favorite shows. Wow, the beauty of its visuals are only matched by the beauty of its interpersonal emotion. But no, that's not what I'm here to say. It's wildly lazy. It is actively stupid a lot of the time. It falls into every trope in the most basic way. It provides almost nothing original, and the only original things it does is how bad it fucks some things up. I think it is poor representation of love and art, and it hurts me.
So what you're saying is, Rem, those emails we got were raw.
Hey, it changed my opinion. Just not how they would have thought.
Well, Rem, would you like some redemption then? A little bit of justification in your thoughts and views?
Yeah.
So I said at the beginning of this episode that we still occasionally get emails saying how we're wrong about this anime and how we just need to finish it. But the majority of the emails that mention Your Lie in April after we did our first episode are like, hey, yo, you guys are absolutely right about this show. I just rewatched it, and now everything makes perfect sense to me. So thank you for clarifying. So you know what, Rem? You've done some good in the world. The majority of our emails have been positive about this.
It is a bit crazy because, like, don't get me wrong, like I've seen so much of the hate mail. The only, like, I don't read the emails that also include recommendations, or like sometimes I will but ignore the recommendations. But I've also noticed there are a lot of emails that were like, I remember one that was something along the lines of, you know what, actually, Remington makes a lot of good points, and it's so good to have someone finally say it, basically. Something along those lines. And it's like, yeah, no, it's wild to me that it's such a controversial opinion, but it's nice to know that there is a lot of people, there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, no, this show is overrated as fuck, and it fails on a lot of major fronts. With oh god, I was about to say its most significant failing being the letter at the end, but I don't know, man. The most significant failing might just be all of Kosei.
You mean the whole thing?
Yeah, because it is the Kosei show.
Right.
Even the one character who you thought was an independent character, not a great character, but like the other character.
Right.
No, turns out she was just a subsidiary of Kosei. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing exists beyond Kosei. And Kosei is shit.
And to further add validation, remember how I said this was award-winning at the top?
Yep.
The Sugoi Japan Awards, they're popular poll awards.
Oh, of course. Fucking
So,
course.
yeah, no, like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It was literally just what was popular at the time.
Look, it's a beautiful show. And even, like, the concept of the show is a real solid concept. So you got concept and visuals. There we go. It falls apart from there.
I'm even willing to give it to the soundtrack a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit.
Sure. I think that it is nice and worthwhile in those regards. I don't think it's like too special in the soundtrack area, but it's good. Yeah. I still think even there could have been so many interesting ideas, like when people are performing, you could have explored more about like who they're trying to reach or like the reason why they perform. Like I'm performing for this person, or I'm performing for this idea, or I'm performing so that I can be the best, or I'm performing from a place of rage, right? And scorn. And all of those could have different results. I definitely think we've saw it like twice, I think, where when performing, they were taken to a new environment. Right. And man, they could have played with that idea a lot more. Like there's so many cool ideas that it's like they open the door for and then just walk right past. And that's so frustrating to me. All right, I'm gonna keep talking shit. I've said everything I need to say, though.
All right, then do you care to take a guess at what the Mal score is sitting at for your line, April? Since last
way too fucking high.
Well, yes.
Maybe a little bit lower. Maybe people have started to like the hype has died down, but I still think it's gonna be like an 8.2.
So you're saying that we actively had an effect on the anime community at this point, is what you're saying?
I don't think we had an effect, but I think that when it first came out, everyone's just like, oh my god, it's crazy. But then like the hype dies down a little bit. People watch it without the hype and they're like, oh, doesn't quite match up to the hype. I think it's just how a lot of it tends to go.
Okay. That would make sense. Unfortunately, not a lot of people go back and write reviews on a show that's, it came out in 2014 for a frame of reference. So with 1,114,000 ratings, Your Lie in April is still sitting nice and pretty at an 8.67.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's currently ranked number 55 on my anime list, and every time I see it, it blows my mind.
Guys.
Yeah. Once
again, I get it. There's those emotional beats there, but I don't think they're ever earned. It's just the jump scare of emotions and just as lazy. That's all it is. It didn't deserve it. God damn it. All right. Okay. All right.
Just know, Rem, that as far as I'm concerned and as far as our community is concerned, you're justified. Everything you've said is accurate. But also, how could you fall into this obvious honey trap, Rem?
I do feel bad. I blame myself. I should have known.
We could have had a nice, simple episode of you making fun of weebs and love, but instead we had to reopen old wounds and explore the complexities, or rather incomplexities, of a very unjustifiably popular series. So with that in mind, Remington, is there any chance you'd ever want to watch any more of Your Lie in April?
Unless they do a great change of the entire script and great remake of it all, then God no.
I mean, there's a prequel OVA where it's about the three main characters as kids.
Can I talk about them as kids for a second? We had a lot more flashbacks. And it's something about the way they draw kids. The animation and art is lovely, but the kids are all fucking weird.
They do look a bit like alien bobbleheads, don't they?
It's really fucking weird, dude. Like, I don't like it. But also, the only thing I'd be willing to watch is just the fucking Watari show.
So I'll cut out the 2 minutes of his stuff that matters, and then we'll be done.
And it will still be more emotionally resonant. That's the crazy thing.
Well, with that, I guess all that's left to say is thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem breaking down needlessly popular anime to their raw, gross details, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcast, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and leave us a review. It means the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if you'd like to support us more directly, we do have a Twitch channel where me and Rem do occasionally play games. That would be twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext. And if you'd like to support us even more directly than that, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Remington, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, I would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, or maybe in this case, Manic Pixie Dream Girls. Yep. But moving on, we reach the yandere waifus here, who, in the name of love, continue to physically abuse us and call us a pervert, but we're supposed to think that's cute for some reason. And on that list, we have Alex, Xanax, Yontosaurus Rex, Yandere Neko. Y'all help me survive my work week. Keep up the good work. You hear? Why Shaun? Why Shaun? When do we get Shaun X Big Bird OnlyFans? What do you call the tired anime girl? A yandere. Walk Me Home Gently, Fanny Jordan, Juliana, Totally God, The Dawn, Susanator, the outro changed, Shaun, please tell me what I need to learn the new rhythm as my current jig is outdated, The Nutty Musician, Biosynthetically Dream because birthday conjecturally cough out a straight record, Ritzy 3 Bruffer.
That's
what?
A name. All right. I feel like you've activated a sleeper agent. That's okay.
Cactus crossed the road because it was stuck to the chicken. That Film Guy, Sticky Jelly. Sorry it took me so long to fix my name, ADHD and all that jazz. Sorry about calling for HGBS, my name didn't update when I wanted to. This is Mechanic Weeb. Silent Secondary, Shoujo Addict, Don't Send Help, Send Me More Romance Tropes because my husband isn't a romantic is the title of my light novel. Shaun, show Rem Achikochi, or you will cringe every week, or Dylan will get some blackmail material. Shaun doesn't want me to tell you how titillated he is by the Toru Dragon Maid White Sword Scarred Boingo. Sarah Birch, Salty Pretzel, Row Fight the Power, Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams, Remington Merrill, Remington has bottom energy, ready to be isekai'd, no waifu, no lifu, new Demon Slayers, peak fiction, Shaun please. Navi, my name is Shaun J. Rollins, and I hate babies.
Got
Mr.
my middle initial
Man.
wrong, but nice try.
Just keep changing out the initial. You get it sometime. Yep. Mr. Marshmallow Man, Mike Mutilator, Matthew Drum says Shaun's a bitch, Matt O2 Max, Luke Offenberger, Lonely Geek 23, Kazu Morocco, Casey Mosley, Cassidy, Just a Traveler, Jukumu Goku no Sorakere Kajora Sugyo no Sugyo Matsu Unramatsu Furematsu Kunero Tokoro Nisumu Tokoro Yabaru Koji no Bi. Jax, Jam Hands, Ichigo Sim 015, I want Rem to ruin DITF for me. I Remington enjoy Moe Lolly Girls. I have the power, I could be the hero, I could be the villain. It doesn't really matter, I can make this idiot say anything. I guess you're on Keter duty. I cut VTubers from my life entirely and escaped the rabbit hole. Aha, you thought this was another Green Day repeat, but it was me, Dio. Hunter Davies, Hunger Bunger. Hey, yo, slob on my knob, like corn on the cob, then give me head like Rem in bed, do a moan. Hey, Rem, let me tongue punch your fart box. Help, I'm stuck in a Jeep with a high Irish man. That's just John.
Hey.
Glenn Michael Dolan, Fuck of Love Foxen Boy. First we had Linus Weenus, then Biggest Dickus. Now we have Present Deletus Fetus, brought to you by Gugus Gagas. Ferdinand the Bull, Farmer Weeb's personality is dead parents, Fantide, Fallen Ghoul, Extreme Cobra, Epic Amy, Dr. Zorgonite. Do you think Kitagawa Marin would prefer Corruption of Champions 2 or Trials in Tainted Space? Data Type, Darkstorm 713, Dante Soriano, Creed 13, Shy 900, Cheese Monkey, Cage in the House, Brockhard for Geodudes, Be Like Harry and Don't Fuck Your Sister unless it's your redheaded best friend's sister, Bara, Attack on Titan is overrated and Daddy Dylan is my waifu, Ariel Bird, Andrew Rawicki, Elise Howard, AJ Honey, and Adam McLaughlin, and pfft, says Miska as she pretends to laugh. Thank you all so much, but we move on to the Boy Wizard tier over at Hogwarts, where, everybody, I'm gonna give you a cliche about love or romance, right? And, Probably a bad one. And that's just how you need to live your life now. through whatever this is. So we start with, what is love? A vow, a band of gold, an ephemeral state of mind, or an action, perhaps a gift only truly received when reciprocated? I mean, your name is perfect for it. Let's see. I'm gonna steal from this good old BuzzFeed list. Good old BuzzFeed. Okay. Just is this? No, this isn't what I want at all. All right. You'll find love when you're not looking for it. So never look for love ever. It's just actively harmful. Some may say that's not really how that works. But whatever. That's fine. Warning: we still remember the barrel. You are going to get that love is all you need. No, you need more. Like, first of all, to live, but also just to live a fulfilled life.
Take that,
there's more to life than purely romantic love, and unless you recognize that, it's going to cause problems. Tony the Great. Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes the reason is just that they're not into you. And that's okay. It's okay if that's the reason, but trying to come up with grand narratives, it's often actively detrimental to growth and progress. Thoughts on Black Mirror, the TV show? It's a great TV show. I love it. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So just stay away from anybody you love. I mean, sometimes this can be fine, but usually it is just not the case psychologically. Take it from somebody who doesn't get to see his
girlfriend as often as he'd like.
It's rough.
It's rough.
Stick meat. For you, stick meat. You are going to get that nice guys finish last. That's wildly, usually coming from a very entitled perspective. No, people like when you are nice and kind to them.
Doesn't automatically mean they're going to jump on you.
That doesn't, it doesn't automatically mean romantic involvement. But you're not entitled to that. Just be good to people, and people will like you more if you are good to them. That is just fundamentally true. Silicon Spectre, you are going to get the sort of corollary that girls always love a bad boy. Which, like, there can be some exciting or alluring traits to a bad boy or a bad girl partner, right? But usually it's more complex than that, and that's just not a great simplification. Pocket Gamer 513, love at first sight. Boom, right there, vastly in love. There you go. The next person you see, Pocket Gamer, fall in love with them.
Oh god, that definitely can't be a problem.
Yeah.
This is why we have a disclaimer at the front of our podcast, by the way, y'all.
PL Mayor, you are going to get, when you find the one, you'll know. You'll just know. It doesn't work like that in the vast majority of cases. People are complex and ever-changing, and so are interpersonal relationships. Odinafish, you are going to get... I'm going to say that romantic love is in a vastly different category than any other kind of love. I think that it has some differences, but those differences largely depend on the person providing it. I don't think there's anything inherent and universal that makes romantic love different. Except for you. For you, it is. Nyan pasu 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 nyan. You are going to get that hey, you can't buy love, all right?
Well.
So never spend any money on your partner. Though, we'll say, like, money makes often relationships a lot easier. Not just, like, not in the sense of a gold digger sense, but just in the, it's one less thing to put a burden and stress upon the relationship sense. Essentially, you can't buy love, but you can buy stability that leads to a foundation on which love can blossom.
I will say, our Patreons are buying our love, though.
Hey, MT the Poet, you are going to get just the idea of a soulmate, that there's one individual out there for you. MT the Poet, you have to live by that, but, you know, it's just not a great way to live. Once again, people are complicated. I don't think that there is any essential partner that you have out there that you are destined for. No, you have to put in the effort, and find someone who you are compatible with, and you have to make it work.
Plus, I'm ginger,
them.
so soul doesn't really factor.
Yeah, exactly. See, if you're ginger, obviously you already knew that.
Yeah.
Momo the Griff, just the entire idea of like a traditional relationship. Look, there's many relationships look many different ways. Mo the Griff, you're stuck in a traditional relationship, but for everyone else, there's lots of options. There's lots of ways to branch out. You know, Mike wants an Overlord review. You are going to get you're gonna get the idea that like any of these essentialist timelines, right? Where if you do blah 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 on a first date or before the third date or any of those hard and fast rules, Mike, all of those rules you have to follow now, but they're all bullshit. It just depends on the people, depends on the circumstance, context, nuance. Miguel DeLeon, similarly, you're gonna get that men should always pay for dinner. Miguel, you always have to pay for dinner now, but that's not essential. Like, it's totally cool if the women pay, or if you split it 50-50, or if you alternate, or if you just have a different system entirely. Like, we can move past these ideas, all right? It's cool if the dude pays. It's cool if the girl pays, as long as there's a mutual understanding there. It's day 34, and the horses have accepted me as one of their own. Bella has begun sniffing my flanks. We shall grow ever closer. For you are going to get opposites attract. Find someone completely opposite to you, even though psychologically, nope, not at all accurate. That is scientifically false. Inuyasha's my favorite cryptid says, call me All Might, because I'm just looking to Texas smash. You are going to get the corollary. Unfortunately, this one is better advice in that birds of a feather flock together. The vast majority of the time, relationships are more successful if you're more similar. So, I'm the president of Dracula United, not Remington. All right, we have a coup going on, apparently.
We have coups going on all the time, it seems.
You are going to get the idea of transactional relationships, that, like, whoever cares less wins, or just, okay, they didn't do the dishes, so I'm not gonna do the laundry. Shit like that. It's just not gonna be great. But it's how you're living your life. And not just a ball of sunshine. You are going to get, for you, love is blind. Love is blind. Which probably just means you have to go blind, which is real rough. But no, like, if we're just like, but judging by attraction's gonna be a factor, and that's okay. Now, for most of us, it should go deeper than that. But attraction is not a moral issue, at its core. We should be self-aware of our attractions. And there are times where it can become problematic, but in cases like this, like, it's fine if that's a measure, as long as you're not judging them exclusively by their looks. It shouldn't be like, they look funky, so they're a terrible person. Then you've gone too far. Hey kids, throws Biscuit into Abyss. Fetch. You are going to get, just the idea of grand romantic notions. For you, that's all you're going to be doing. But, once again, it's the quiet moments that matter just as much. Harrison, you are going to get possessive behavior in relationships. That's what you get to be stuck with. Yeah, no, you don't own your relationship partner. Not how that goes. People are their own person. They have autonomy. Fisherman from Norway. You are going to, you're just going to get that cliche of simple misunderstandings causing a lot of drama. That's going to be your life, unfortunately. Bonjour, mademoiselle, je porte lunettes de soleil, je vous me venga, merci beaucoup, oui, oui, baguette, monsieur.
I feel like that was racist, but that's okay.
I don't control it, man. Yeah. You, in all your Frenchness, is that the past doesn't matter, only the now matters. So that's how you live your life, but you know, like, the past can matter. Maybe it's not the only factor, maybe people can grow, but it can still be, like, factored into stuff. Beethoven 1201, aka Kohei Azumi. You are going to get, the two characters who hate each other, but then, gradually fall in love and become inseparable. Not a great way of finding the relationships, but that's how you are going to. All Fathers Cursed, FOTW, fact of the week. There we go. All Fathers Cursed, fact of the week. Siberian bears sometimes dig up dead bodies for food and use cemeteries as refrigerators. You know what? For you, I just pose a corollary. I shouldn't say that at all.
No.
I shouldn't say. All right, you're gonna get that good old boomer trope that marriage is always miserable, and the punchline is I hate my wife. What the fuck's up with that? Aaron Hegland, you are going to get you know what? You're gonna get the kill your gays trope. Why does that always have to keep happening? Pretty fucked up. But if you ever write a piece of fiction, Aaron, you got to kill off the gays. It's just how it goes. Eritsu Midoof, Bob Big One Noof, Lord Brock Doof Dulu. I'm skipping a week. You are going to get any gender essentialism in relationships. Anytime where it's like guys are like this, women are like this. It's like, once again, guys, nuance. That's all I ask. And to Section, I have to show you my Rule 34 of Yui. It is my favorite of my many folders. You get the very false belief that your waifu will ever love you. It's not going to happen, guys. I'm so sorry. Moving on, finally, we get to the highest of all tiers. We get to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier. So, what we are going to do, in my best Joey Wheeler voice, I am going to give you all, I'm going to embarrass myself with giving a really cheesy, romantic quote, and go all in. Happy Valentine's Day. So first we start with Magic Ice Ball, and you know, probably movies, I feel. Movies is probably the best one.
I mean, yeah. I mean, first of all, Rem, you probably should have watched more movies in your time, but you know, I'm not going to hold it against you.
And we'll have Shaun guess the movie.
Okay, all right. I was wondering
because he needs to get embarrassed soon. All right, so Magic Ice Ball. Hey, Yooks! So it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be really hard. We're gonna have to work at this every day, but I want to do that because I want you. I want all of you, forever. You and me. Every day, Magic Ice Ball.
Oh, God. Okay. So, funnily enough, romance movies, not my specialty, so I'm going to go with, until I get it one right, I'm gonna go with The Notebook.
You got it. It's The Notebook.
Oh, fuck. No. Shit.
All right, let's keep going. It will only be a select number of episodes before the darkest day. I wonder what torture option Rem will decide for Shaun. All right, and so for you are going to hey, Yooks, I don't know if we each have a destiny or if we're all just floating around accidental, like on a breeze. But I think maybe it's both. Maybe both is happening at the same time. I miss you, Yooks. If there's anything you need, I won't be far away. I censored a name.
Okay.
Because I thought the name might give it away.
I don't think it would have done any worse.
It was, I miss you, Jenny.
Oh, yeah, no, I was about to say, it sounds like Forrest Gump to me.
Yeah, it's Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Now we go to my dear old mom. And you are going to get... Hey, Yooks, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Oh, I've heard this one, but I cannot think of the movie.
Yeah, I need a guess.
Oh, fuck. It's not going to be The Notebook again, so,
Nope.
How about the Adam Sandler classic 50 First Dates?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, that one was Moulin Rouge, so, basically the same movie.
Basically the same, cultured.
Dylan Hayden, who goes above and beyond, here's yours. Hey, Yooks, I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair. I hate the way you drive my car. I hate it when you stare. I hate your big dome combat boost and the way you read my mind. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme. I hate it. I hate the way you're always right. I hate it when you lie. I hate it when you make me laugh. Even worse, when you make me cry. I hate it when you're not around and the fact you didn't call. But mostly, I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
All right, now call me crazy, Rem. But based on the context clues, without having seen the movie, would this be 10 Things I Hate About You?
How'd you know? It was real subtle, but
No, I just... Oh, actually, you know what? Changed my answer. It's the hit Adam Sandler movie. I'm Happy Gilmore. That has to be it.
I would just like to submit all of my answers, proceeding, of course, instead of Jeopardy, it must be a question. All your answers must be in the form of the Adam Sandler movie.
Yep.
Right.
The hit Adam Sandler movie. He doesn't make flops.
Yeah, the hit. All bangers all the time. Welcome to Adam Sandler out of context. If you guys want to reach out, whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in, and especially this week, we love you all very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister. Rem, this is supposed to be a romantic type of thing. We're supposed to have a good time.
You fucked me, Shaun. You fucked me here. Choke out a child and call them a flat-chested bitch.
Believe it or not, Rem, some of us actually are in relationships. She's not a figment of my imagination this time, I swear.
Sure.
Okay, Rem, I'm gonna need you to hold that thought because, my body has just decided to tell me, hey,
He's taking a massive shit, everybody.
Yeah, basically. Dylan, please edit that out.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shaun Shit Time. During Shaun Shit Time, we just take a conversation, whatever we want to talk about. It's light, it's relaxing. Put on some smooth jazz over this. There we go. Now, let's take a break from talking about Your Lie in April and all of its plentiful flaws, you know. Let's talk about a sort of theme that I've already discussed within it. Let's analyze that at length. So, listen, guys. I mentioned Watari, he's the only one capable of any healthy relationships. He's a strong, supportive friend. He has his own struggles. That's all right. Meanwhile, everybody else, take Kosei. He's not supportive at all. He's a bit of a shit. He's a bit of an asshole. Meanwhile, you have Tsubuki. Tsubuki, she puts in too much effort and care for not enough reward. You don't want to be at either of these extremes because neither of them are healthy for you or the relationship. If you want a healthy relationship, then you need to be secure in yourself and in the relationship. That's what Watari has going on for him, all right? While he may struggle at times, he's confident, he's comfortable in his own body. He doesn't feel the need to be selfish or jealous or put in all of his time in the relationship. He's able to grow as a person while also maintaining those social relationships. Now, I think now is a good time for some self-analysis, guys. Look within and think to yourself, am I Watari? Or am I more of a Kosei? Or am I more of a Tsubuki? Now, it's fine if you're not a Watari yet. That's totally okay. We all have room to grow. But recognition, acknowledgement, and understanding, that self-awareness, it's the first step. And so, with that in mind, guys, I take Shaun Shit Time to a close with these lovely messages that we can all take in our heart forever.